Okay, so let's get started with the today's session. Before starting, let me introduce myself. I'm Dhaniklal Sahani. I'm technical architect in Content Business Solution. I'm certified application architect and also certified with the integration architect certification. If you want to connect me, you can connect on Twitter, which is Dhanik Sahani is my Twitter handle. And if you want immediate response, then you can connect on LinkedIn, okay, or you ping me on Telegram group if for any kind of support if you need. Okay, I also run a blog, salesforcecortex.com. This blog is basically on architecture and all integration, code usability, code best practices, all those we are covering there. So if you want to learn something new, that you can also go and check my blog. Today's session, which is our session number 24, which is basically is telling how to build the integration, okay, which is around 23% of the exam. So we'll cover how to build Heroku and Salesforce integration. So before starting completely, let's see what is the agenda today. So we'll see what is Heroku, what are the services and the feature is actually used or we can use when we integrate Salesforce and Heroku. Then we'll see why it is needed. Why should we integrate Salesforce and Heroku? Is there a specific requirement? And what are the requirements? We'll cover all those reasons where we need to integrate Salesforce and Heroku. Then we'll see what are the methods available to integrate Salesforce and Heroku platform. Today we will cover one step, one process, which is Heroku Connect, and that we'll see step by step. We'll cover all those aspects to connect Heroku with the Heroku and Salesforce with the Heroku Connect. So let's start. What is Heroku? So Heroku is a cloud platform that lets deploy, run, and manage application. So what kind of application or what kind of sites you can deploy or run on the Heroku platform? Just take example. You are running your Salesforce application and clients say, I want to create a community portal, or I want to create a business site for any selling of the product, like we have Amazon, we have a Myntra, we have a Flipkart. So these are the basically sites. If you want to create these kind of high performing sites, okay, you need a platform where you will to deploy it. After development, you have to deploy that application somewhere so that it can be used by users. If you see, if you, let's example, if you are running your blog, you have to deploy your site in somewhere. So like today we have a GoDaddy, we have a Big Rocks, we have a Hostinger, and there are a lot of others as well. So these platforms give you capability to host your site in their infrastructure, right? Similar to that, we have a Heroku platform, which gives you all those similar kind of support where you can deploy all your application. It can be your blog, it can be your commercial site, it can be your community portal. All those applications can be hosted on Heroku platform. So this is a container. This is basically a deployment container where you can deploy your site, your application, which is very you actually you need a high performing site. So why that high performing site? If you see that just Amazon, you see the Flipkart, how many users per second actually searching products? For that kind of application, you need these kind of high performing basically hosting application or platform services. Heroku is one of the basically you can say Salesforce platform. It built or basically or used in a Salesforce platform. Okay, so all those features which is Salesforce provides, we can utilize all those with the Heroku service as well. So we discussed, okay, that we can deploy our application on Heroku platform. Now, which are the languages which can be for application which is built on those language, which are the languages Heroku is right now supporting. So you can see right now, these are the language which is supported by Heroku by default. But other than these languages, also, if you want to go for the Heroku platform, you have to create your own API or platform service, okay, to deploy your application. But by default, these applications were easily deployed on the Heroku platform. So Ruby, Node.js, Java, Python, Clojure, Scala, Go, PHP, all these sites actually use right now, very heavily used in our public domain right now. So, and PHP, Go, these high performing sites, even Go use, financial sites also, financial companies also. So there high performing, reliable, secure connection is also required. So those are also used or deployed on a Heroku platform. So you can think how good is this platform. So how Heroku is actually built? So Heroku is built on Amazon Web Service. As a Amazon Web Service, which was related to, you can say, IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Heroku is built on that IaaS platform, and it gives you service as a platform as a services. It has eliminated all those operational tasks which is required before you manage, before you deploy your application. Just take example. If you have taken as an infrastructure as a service for any cloud platform, it can be Google, it can be Amazon, it can be Microsoft, anyone's. So when you take a IaaS service, you have to deploy, you have to set up your Windows server, maybe Windows, you want to go Unix or any other operating system. First, you have to install that. Then you have to install your or language software, maybe .NET, maybe Java, all those also you have to install. So you have to do all those operations before you deploy your application. So instead of doing those, Heroku platform is giving all those pre-built configured system where all those is already configured. You just need to deploy your application. So that is the architecture actually is created. So it makes a developer focus on dev activities instead of operation activities. So if developer is doing his development activity, after that, if he is thinking, okay, I have to deploy in any hosting site also, there's a lot of problem is there. So instead of focusing on those post development activities, he's just focusing on the only development activity. He can focus on more on the side. So it's product developer productivity will also increase in this case. Now, what is PostgreSQL? So whatever websites you are deploying on our Heroku platform, if those websites, those application needs a database service, for using database service in Heroku, there is a concept or there is an add-on which is Heroku Postgres. So PostgreSQL is enterprise class open source database management system. If you see, we already have a lot of database. If you have good experience, then you know that Oracle we have, SQL Server we have MS SQL also. So Sybase, MSX, so a lot of database also already there. So you can think PostgreSQL is also enterprise class open source database management system, similar to, you can say, Oracle or MS SQL. PostgreSQL is known for reliability, feature robustness, and the performance. So it gives you high performance experience to you. It supports both SQL and JSON for relational and non-relational queries for the extensibility and SQL compliances. So it can support SQL database also and NoSQL database. So if you heard about MongoDB, so MongoDB is not a complete SQL, it's a NoSQL. Basically, all those data in the MongoDB is stored in file system, okay, that is stored in as a JSON format. So Heroku PostgreSQL is supporting both SQL and non-SQL relational databases. PostgreSQL is scalable for high-performing sites. So high-performing site, I told you example, Amazon, Flipkart, I don't think how many users per second is actually searching product on these two sites, and these sites are never down. Actually, I have not seen actually. So how these sites are performing like good performance that they're giving. So this is due to these kind of database where they can easily search, they can easily query in our database. So by default, PostgreSQL is open architecture concept. Okay, this is open software, PostgreSQL. So that PostgreSQL is actually implemented in Heroku, and is named as Heroku Postgres. So all those implementation which is in open source, that all feature you can also get in Heroku Postgres implementation of that open system. Now, what services and tools or add-ons Heroku is providing to you? Okay, so I already told what is Heroku PostgreSQL. So basically a SQL database where you want to store your data, which is required on your application, your site, anything. So that is a add-on on a Heroku platform. Then we have a Heroku Redis. So Redis actually, if you heard, this is a caching mechanism. Caching technology. If you want to store your in-memory data, then we actually use Redis platform. So if you like Amazon, Flipkart, they're searching a lot of products. So by default, when we are searching those products, somewhere these products are actually stored so that when we query it, it gives you a result very fast. So that is a concept of Redis infrastructure. So Redis is a separate, you can say, software. That implementation in Heroku is called Heroku Redis. So when you want to any kind of in-memory capability in your application, then you can add on Heroku Redis on your Heroku platform. Then we have a continuous delivery. If you want to go with Heroku pipeline, if you want to go with deploy your application as soon as it's committed or something, then you can go with the continuous delivery of the add-on of the Heroku platform. We have other add-ons as well, okay, like when you are querying data, if you and some database error is showing, or you got some error, what error is there, how you will identify. So for those kind of scenario, those kind of issues also, you can use different add-ons. Like for the logging purpose, we can use Papertrail. I also discussed about the MongoDB, which is a NoSQL. So these are also can be utilized. You can add on a Heroku platform for your application. You can add on your add-on tools. I will show that how we can add add-ons in your Heroku application. Then GitHub integration, everyone know what is GitHub integration, where you actually put your code, and so you can maintain your code versioning of your application, whatever data, whatever code you have written, you can do the versioning. So for that purpose, you can go with the GitHub integration. And if I told you, Brian, in initial that a lot of languages Heroku is by default supporting, but if it is not supporting, or if you want to create a custom feature, okay, that also Heroku is supporting. So you can go with the extensibility module for this, and you can create your own add-on also in a Heroku platform. Now we'll see what are the reason where we integrate Salesforce and Heroku, because Salesforce already by default is a lot of features available. Still you want to go with the Heroku integration. What is the reason? Why should go with that? So let's see that. So first is data replication. So data replication is copying or synchronizing data between Salesforce and another system. So another system right now is a Heroku platform. So data replication is copying a data from one system to another system is the concept of data replication. So we'll see how we'll copy data from Salesforce to the Heroku, and how will the data will updated from Heroku to Salesforce also. We'll see all those in our demo. So data replication is copying of data from one system to another system. Why it's needed actually? So sometime, okay, just take example Amazon, similar kind of a website you want to create for your client, and those data will be there in some database which is Heroku Postgres data. So at the end of day, because Salesforce is your master system, you have to update all your data in Salesforce on daily basis, or maybe in whatever frequency you want to update, maybe a 1 hour, 10 minutes, or whatever is there. So you have to update your master database, which is a Salesforce system. So you need some kind of system which will integrate data from your Postgres to the Salesforce. There we need data replication. Then we have a data proxies. So data proxies, or we can say data virtualization. So it's actually get the data from one system and show the data in a second system without copying the data. It will get the data on the fly. It's not data copying or data insertion is not required in a Salesforce. It will just get the data on the fly when it's needed. For example, you need to show the report. You need to generate a report based on the data which is available in Postgres database, Heroku Postgres database. So instead of copying data in Salesforce, let's get the complete data from there itself on the fly. So in that kind of scenario, you can go with a data proxy. This is the concept of data proxy. Then we have a customer user interface. So I already told, if you want to create any community portal, if you want to create any business site, okay, or consumer site, so those sites data will be there in a Postgres database. So from updating data from that system to this system, Salesforce, we have to use some kind of system for which we can use Salesforce and Heroku integration. And the last one is external process. So a lot of features Salesforce sometimes is not giving to you. Just take example, when images actually uploaded in Salesforce, and these images actually can be put to any other file store. Maybe we have a Google Drive, we have a Amazon, or we have a Microsoft OneDrive. After the uploading in a Salesforce system, we need to move these data to these sites. So it's possible the size of those images is very high. And if you want to reduce the size of those images, Salesforce cannot give you that capability. Salesforce doesn't have that kind of capability, which will compress, which will reduce the size of image. You need some kind of other application which will do this activity. Or let's example, you have multiple files in your system, and if you want to merge all those files to a single file before you send to your client, before you send to your customer. So merging capability also not available in a Salesforce. So in this case, what we will do, we will create a Java application. We will deploy that Java application in our Heroku, and from Salesforce, we will call those application, and that will do all those activities. For this kind of situation also, we need Salesforce and Heroku integration. So these are the major 4 important points where we need to do the Salesforce and Heroku integration. Now, what are the methods available for Salesforce and Heroku integration? So if you see, these are the 7 ways we can do the integration between Salesforce and integration and Heroku. Right now, today, we are discussing about the Heroku Connect. For our upcoming session also, we will see all those 6 integration method as well, practically, basically. So let's see what is Heroku Connect. Heroku Connect is an add-on that synchronizes data between your Salesforce organization and a Heroku Postgres database. So basically, this is an add-on which actually synchronizes data between your Salesforce system and Heroku Postgres database. Heroku Connect provides both data replication and data proxies for Salesforce, both system that is supporting data replication and data proxies also. I have told what is data replication and data proxy in the last slide. Data replication synchronizes data between Salesforce and Heroku Postgres database. Of course, you can see this. We have this Heroku Postgres on one side, we have a Salesforce on the side, and using the sync, we are syncing all those data. Data replication with Heroku Connect can be one way from Salesforce to Heroku Postgres, or it can be a bidirectional. So if it is a bidirectional, means whatever value you are changing from in Postgres also, it will reflect in Salesforce. We'll see all those things in our demo, one step by step. Data replication from Heroku Postgres to Salesforce can be configured to execute with very low latency. So what is low latency? Low latency basically saying where you have a huge data in your application, and that huge data you want to load with very minimum time. At that time, we need a low latency. That is the concept of low latency. So this data replication process actually configured to execute on the very low latency concept. So in very few seconds or microseconds, it can load the data. We have the option to control latency by a specific interval or alternatively to poll on demand. So after what time you want to sync your data in Salesforce and Heroku, that you can configure. And we'll see that in our demo also, how we'll do that configuration. So data replication from Heroku to Postgres to Salesforce can be configured using low latency concept. Now, we have a two system. One is a Salesforce system. One is a Postgres, Salesforce Heroku Postgres system. So if you want to sync two systems, you need some kind of mapping. What is mapping? In one Salesforce system, there is an object. In Postgres, there is a concept of table. So in Salesforce, it is an object. In Heroku Postgres is table. So you have to push basically data from one system, which is the object in Salesforce, to the Postgres table. So for that, you need some kind of mapping. So mapping basically it's saying from which object, which this data will move to which Heroku Postgres table. That is a mapping. So mapping can be read-only from Salesforce to Heroku, or it can be read and write. Read and write basically is a bidirectional. So it can be one way, which is a read-only concept, or it can be a bidirectional, which is a read and write concept. Now, what are the Salesforce object which is supported in Heroku connection or Heroku integration? So by default, which API version you are using in Heroku Connect, based on that Heroku API integration, all those objects will be shown. If you are using 39, so whatever object which is available till version 39, that object you will get in that list. Right now, Heroku platform is supporting version number 52. So whatever object which is available for the version 52 will get an Salesforce mapping list. Secondly, it's possible that the user which you are connecting, okay, whatever user you are connecting, that user has only access to 2 or 3 objects. So you will get only 2 or 3 objects while you create a mapping. If user has too much access, like is admin user, then you will get all those object access. So it can be depend on the version of the API which is used in the integration, and the user which is used for the basically integration. Based on these two parameters, the Salesforce objects will show on the list. What are the unsupported objects? So by default, the object which is not supporting bulk API, that will not support our Heroku Connect also. So knowledge, article version, and custom metadata types are not supported right now for the Heroku Connect. Salesforce to Heroku Postgres sync. So basically, you want to connect, or you want to sync data from Salesforce to the Heroku, which is, you can say, is a read-only concept or single-way sync. So mapping will be by default as a read-only. Changes made in a Heroku Postgres database don't synchronize back to the Salesforce. So because you have created a a mapping for one way, which is from Salesforce to Postgres. So for Postgres, whatever changes you are doing, that will not reflect back in a Salesforce system. So that is a read-only concept. In that mapping, after the mapping is done, now we have to poll the data. We have to refresh the data, or we have to reload the data in a system. So polling of the data, basically, if you see in Salesforce integration, there is two concepts. Or in streaming API, we have two concepts. One is a pull, one is a push. In pull, basically, we are pulling data from external system. That okay, every time data is changed, I need to ask that second system that okay, give me data, whatever data you have, give me that data. That is a pull. You are pulling. In the push technology, somebody is pushing data from his system to your system. It's her responsibility, his responsibility that okay, they will push the data from external system to your system. So that is the concept of pulling and pushing. So in polling, basically you are polling data from Salesforce to the Heroku. Now, what is the interval? After how many minutes, after how many hours that data need to be pulled from Salesforce to the Heroku, that we can fix in our mapping system. So by default, okay, in Salesforce Heroku integration, you can go with 2 to 24 hours, but when you are creating a demo application, you can go minimum 10 minutes of integration, 10 minutes of polling. So it can be a short polling and long polling also. So what is short polling? What is a long polling? Short polling is required when your site is very heavy. Your site is very used, like your transactional very high. So in that kind of situation where transaction of your application is very high, you should go with a short polling where within 2 minutes you should load data in your system. You should sync your data in system. But when your application is not too much transactional, okay, there are very few basically database operation or updation, then you can go with a longer poll. Basically, maybe after 1 hour you can sync, after 4 hours also you can sync. Based on the transaction which is performed on your site, we should think about after how many minutes or hours we should sync our two systems, which is Salesforce and Postgres. So that is a polling. The second is accelerated polling of Salesforce. In first is standard polling where one system is asking data, whatever data is refreshed in the second system. This is asking. Second is accelerated polling where the push technology will come, okay, where Salesforce by default use the streaming API to notify Heroku Connect that okay, whatever changes is done in the mapped object of the Salesforce, automatically it will update to the Heroku Connect, and immediately it will reflect in a Heroku Connect or Heroku Postgres system. So this is the two concepts. One is the poll, second is the push. So one is a standard polling of Salesforce, the second is an accelerated polling where we are using a standard Salesforce streaming API. Now, that is first was okay, Salesforce to Postgres. Second is from Heroku Postgres to Salesforce sync. So for this we need write mode. Okay, we have to do the bidirectional sync. So when we require to bidirectional sync, we need to map it in the mapping section. So I think for this slide, let's see first the demo and then we'll see this slide once again. So what are the steps basically to do the integration is, first we will have to create a Heroku login. So let's see, I am creating a new user. Sign up. You have to this, okay, use whatever email ID you want to go, whatever profession you belong. By default, which language you want to use for your system. I'm using Node.js and I've done create free account. So after that, we have to verify this. So let me, I have used. Confirm your. So now is confirmation is required. So let's confirm it. Change the password. So now it's done. Okay, so we have created a new account in Heroku system. After this, you can say terms and condition, you can think. So just accept it. And now you are ready to create a new application in Postgres, or sorry, Heroku platform. So this was the first step, create a new Heroku login. So we have done it. Okay, next is how to create a Heroku app. So let's create a Heroku app here. It's saying create a new app. So let's, by default, you have to give a Heroku app name in small characters, no big character or caps lock you required. So let's see Salesforce Codex demo. Okay, I want to use this. So basically it's checking, okay, if this name is utilized by other person, we cannot use. So right now nobody has used this app name, so we can see that is available. After then, which region you want to create this? By default, go with the United States. Don't go with any pipeline, because pipeline again for the continuous integration is required. Right now we are not going with that. Just create an app. So we have created an Salesforce Hadoop Postgres Heroku application. Now the third is add a Heroku Connect and Postgres add-on. So we have to use Postgres add-on. So for that, what you need, you have to go in resource section. So by default, you can go with this page, or if you are on other pages, then from this dashboard also, you can go on the same section. So if you see, we have created this app, we will click on this app. Now on the same page, we are available. So on the resource section, this is the add-ons where you can add all those add-ons from Heroku platform, and you can use that in your app. So let's take example. If you want to go with the Heroku Connect, you can see. So it's basically asking for which plan you want to go. So let's now go with the demo plan, which is free edition, and submit order. So Heroku Connect is done. The add-on has been installed. Check out the documentation. We'll see that. Second thing we need is Heroku Postgres. So second is this add-on. This also, how we are you going? Okay, free version. So let's go with this free version yourself. And so we have installed two add-on, which is Heroku Connect and Heroku Postgres. So let's go with the Heroku Connect. No problem. Let's refresh it. So test in database, Heroku Connect. Okay, let's see in dashboard. See next step. Resources. Looks like some issue. No connection found. Okay, 1 second. View in Dev Center. Actually, we have to connect it. So not getting account setting. Okay, right now it's not doing, but let's go with the other plan we have. Okay, so no, it's still not showing. Let me remove this, delete add-on. This name says post codex. Remove add-on. Refresh the page. See, one connection, it will sync. So why is demo edition? What happened? Access to idea was not. Let me start again. Something is. Okay, right now we go with the resources. It's again, it's not that which we have created, is another application which I have connected. So in this, so you can see this connection actually is not being established because when we create it, okay, after that we have to connect with the Salesforce system. Okay, that is required. So that is not showing, but okay. So in this, this is again the Heroku Connect. So we have a mapping. In this mapping, actually, we have created two. Let me remove these mapping and we'll see step by step. Okay. So now we have a clear with no object right now in a mapping. Okay, let's see our Salesforce system first. We have two object. One is product object where we have around 10 data, and then we have vendors, which is around, we have eight records. So let's connect. One we will connect as a read only, and second we will connect as a read and write both. So for creating mapping, let's go in the mapping section, and then we'll create a mapping. Now you can see these are the all objects which is supported for right now. Okay, these are the all those objects is available in our Salesforce system. Now let me search that product object, which is product C. Okay. Now, if you see in the screen, we have a Salesforce to the database. Salesforce to database means Salesforce to the Postgres. We are actually mapping. Second is a poll frequency is 10 minutes. So basically by default, it's supporting 10 minutes for the demo purpose or demo count. In actually, when you get the you can license version, then you will get a minimum time is 2 minutes. Okay. Then we have accelerated polling, which I told you in accelerated polling that a streaming API will be used to update Heroku Connect. Okay, that okay, some data is changed in Salesforce immediate basis. On immediate basis, it will do. So we are not doing this right now. Let's go with the first one, which is Salesforce database. Okay, and let's see what fields are available in that object. So right now, these fields are available in the product object. So I'm going with discount percentage, description, quantity, unit price, and this one. Okay. So these are I have selected for the syncing. After that, save it. Now you can see that the mapping is done, and in that mapping, available fields are mapped, and by default, 10 rows are available. We have 10 rows for this record, this object. If you want to see all those record, then you can go in explore section, and you can see all those data in tabular format. For all those data which is available in Salesforce, all those data are showing in this screen. So these data are available. If you want to see specific data, all those data will show in this format also. And we have this other setting, which was mapping. In mapping, if you want to see, this is a concept of all those features, basically reload. If you want to reload the complete data once again, then you can use reload feature. Means it will delete all those data which is available in Postgres and it will reload data from Salesforce. All the data will come again. Poll now, again, if you want to refresh your data immediate basis or on other basis, okay, then you can use this button. About means whatever process is going on about those things. So these can also you do in Postgres Heroku Connect, okay, for polling of your data. Now let's see one thing. Actually, let's change this data. If we are in Heroku, let's change data in Heroku and see if data is being reflected in Salesforce system or not. So for this, okay, Heroku Connect, this one, okay. By default, again, Heroku database is not supported right now. It's not doing the SQL activity. For that, you need to do a CLI. Instead of CLI, I want to go with any other tool or app software which will support you for any SQL kind of support. So right now, what I have done, I have used PopSQL, okay, which supporting all those operational activities, insert, update, delete, all those operational activity for the Postgres database. So first, what I have to do, we have to connect it to that system. For the connection, you need to go in, one second, queries, database, schema. Runs here. Where is it? Okay, account. You can see this is a manage connection in account section. And these are the credential which is given by the PostgreSQL. Okay, if these data you can see here. Here, this one. You can see this is a Postgres add-on which we have created in Heroku Connect. Okay, in this, when we open this, we can see database credentials. In database credential, you can go and view credential, and from here you can got all those data. So These are the data or the credential which you need to go for new connection. So I have already connected using these credential in here, but if let's scan, where is the Bob? This is Bob. Okay. If you want to create a new one or if you want to test it, you can do it testing here, and it will say, oh, password is supplied is wrong. So let's change those, because by default PostgreSQL database credentials or password is changed frequently. So let me change. This is what, 1 second. This is a database name is same, and username is changed, and the password is this one. Okay, so let me test it. So now you can see looks connection is good, connected. Now we can do all those select command here, select ID, command name, what was that, system self. You can see these data actually it's showing here now. Okay, name, and you can say other properties are available. Let me see in explore here. It's name, NSFID, and ID. Okay, so name we have. So let's change something in name field itself. So for that, what we can use update command, update search for product, set name is equal to updated. I have a where ID is equal to, since ID is number 3. So what I am doing, I'm updating name of a product which is on number 3, ID where ID is 3, Sony TV 32-inch instead of 32-inch. I am marking as a updated Sony TV 32-inch updated. So let's execute this command. This command is executed. We can see that data in our system here. Okay, Sony TV 32-inch. Now open this one. You can see this data now is updated in Postgres database. We have updated in our PopSQL. It is available in our Postgres Heroku Connect add-on. You can see this data is updated, but let's see this data is updated in Salesforce system or not. So for that, let's go in Heroku Salesforce system. Okay, and open the products. See this. So although it's a pole frequency 32-inch, but with we have no other external system, okay, other thing, it will reflect immediately, but this data is not updated right now. It's the same. Okay, let's go with the second way, where we have to do the bidirectional sync. So for bidirectional sync, we have to do something in our system. So for that, let's go what we needed. For bidirectional sync, Heroku Connect use separate threads for the read and writing. This is a mechanism where they use 2 threads, one for reading and one for the writing. Heroku always needed unique identifier to prevent duplicate record. Okay, let's example, if the 2 record has the same ID, when you update data in a Heroku platform, which record it will update. So for that purpose, it always needed a unique identifier, a unique record in your Salesforce object. Okay. Now, how to create a unique record? By default, ID is there, but instead of ID, we have to create any other custom object, custom field. So what we can do, we can create a custom field with an external ID and unique attribute in a Salesforce system. So we can create any custom field. We can set these 2 attributes. One is the external ID and one is a unique attribute. So these two attribute can help Salesforce system that, okay, whatever record is coming, it is from external system or it's in a Salesforce created object, Salesforce created record. So using that two fields, it can identify. Okay. Now, if that field is not attributed with these two features, like external ID and unique attribute, if you are just setting external ID, even in that case also, you will not able to do the bidirectional. For bidirectional sync, you always have to some kind of a field which have these two attributes set, external ID and unique attribute. So enable both attributes on the field in Salesforce, then only it will basically do the syncing. So right now, let's see this is updated or not first. So not. So let's do the same object. We will delete this mapping and we'll do the same thing so that we know that, okay, it's working or not. I'm deleting this mapping. You can see this data is not more here. No mapping is there. In POPSQL also, we can try to do that searching and check it is doing or not. So let's see, this was data. No, it's failed because there is no object product. So let's see, create a new mapping. So let's step by step see, okay, why product that duplicate or sorry, external ID is required. So product C is there. Now we want to go with this concept. So we have to check mark this flag, write database update to the Salesforce. But in this case, you see there's no field is showing as a unique identifier, and this is required. Okay, so if it is required, we have to create or we have to put some custom field there. So let's go in Salesforce and create or add some setting. Basically, let's example, this is a object manager product. See, now what are the fields we have label, we have these fields. So vendor ID, quantity, or let's create a new field ID, new text field, put as a product ID. Okay, put as a length is a 40. This field, set this field as a unique record identifier from the external system. We have to set this one, and then we have to set this unique field also. Do not allow duplicate values. Okay. Now, next, and save it. So we have created one field, product ID, which has two attributes set. One is external ID and second is a unique identifier. So let's refresh this in our mapping field. I'm refreshing this page to create a new mapping. Search for the product again. Now you can see you will get this product ID field, which is available there. So we have created this product ID field there as a unique identifier. Now we are able to see this column now. So now which field we need? Let's do the same fields available again. Already product description, quantity, unit price, and the vendor as well. So let's save it. So you can see now 30 fields are mapped and still the cell 10 record we have. We can see all those 10 records are available now. Okay. Now let's first do changes in a Salesforce system and see it's updating in Heroku Postgres or not. So first let's go in our system here. Now this Sony TV 32-inch itself, and I am updating that flag. Where is the product ID? Product ID is not there. Let's put that on the page layout. Product ID is there, but it's not showing. So yes, access issue looks like. It has access. Where is that product ID? Is not showing in the field, but in the page layout showing. Okay, maybe it was already open. Let me see that once again. Sony TV 32-inch. So we see the product ID. Let's product ID is P001. Save it, and let's see this updation is performed in Heroku or not. So we have this page now. Let me open Sony TV 32-inch. Okay, no changes yet. Okay, product. Now you can see P001 we are getting here. So current sync, okay, but in current database it is not there. So it will poll after some time. Okay, and let's see in our SQL database also. PopSQL, we're searching it. Now again you will get this data. Okay, still it's not showing. Okay, cool. Name second. Name field, and that's the what field product ID. Underscore C. You can see we can able to query it, but still the data for the product ID is not available in this object. So let's wait for some time and then it will come. Or let's do one thing. Let's pull it better. Reload it. Okay, and now we can see the complete data is there now. Okay, let's explore it. The sync 32-inch. You can see that data is now available in our Postgres database as well. And let's query it here, and we can see the query is here also, right? Now let's update the name of this product in Postgres data. So basically we are updating in Postgres database. Let's see this is being updated in Salesforce or not. So I'm updating here. Okay, now you can see this is updated in Postgres database. Now again, this is updated here. Let's see this is showing here or not in Heroku Connect or not. Okay, this name is updated here. Now it's time to see the data in our Salesforce system. So in Salesforce system, now you can see Sony TV 32-inch updated. So that bidirectional sync is also working. We have actually pulled our data from Salesforce to the Heroku. We have changed data in Salesforce and it is updating in Heroku. And after that, we have changed Heroku database, Postgres database, and then it's updating in Salesforce as well. So all those bidirectional concept is done. So for again bidirectional, we have to create a custom field which is for external ID, and another attribute is set is unique identifier. Both we have to set for one field, and then only we can go for the bidirectional sync. So let's see the okay. So Heroku Connect polls your Heroku Postgres data was for updated every 2 minutes, and it's not configured. So basically, when you are changing your Postgres database after whenever you updated it, so within 2 minutes that data will be updated in Heroku Connect, and that poll frequency you cannot change. It is by default is 2 minutes, so it's 2 minutes within 2 minutes. Now Heroku Connect, when to use. Okay, we already discussed, but let's see when to use Heroku Connect. Heroku Connect provides a pure data integration. It can basically sync object and table data are synced. Basically, this architecture is useful in many scenarios where you want to Heroku application to store or manipulate data. Okay, we discussed about like when you go with any community application, you want to go with any product selling sites like Amazon, Flipkart, or other sites as well. Then we can go with this kind of integration. If you are building a Heroku app or already have a data in Heroku Postgres, then also we can go with the Heroku Connect to fit our Salesforce Heroku integration. Now,